Steve Dotto here. How the heck you doing this fine day? And welcome to Gray Matters, the podcast dedicated to baby boomers and Gen Xers. Now, a lot of people may not recognize always the division of labor here at Gray Matters, but one of my responsibilities is editing each and every podcast and packaging it up and getting it ready and actually publishing the podcast. And what you're seeing at this moment is I am actually doing that task while I'm in my family vacation. I'm off at our property at the lake, and I'm recording this just with my MacBook Pro and the built-in microphone, and I'm editing an interview that Vivica has just accomplished. So for those of you viewing the podcast on YouTube, the visuals are going to be a little bit different because I'm just recording this with the built-in camera in the MacBook Pro. But I think this is a great example of just how far things have come, allowing us to work how we want, where we want, when we want. The ability for me to be on vacation, spending most of my time relaxing, but spending a few hours in the morning putting this podcast together and getting it published, I think is just testament to just how far we've come as far as the advent of technology and the changes in lifestyle. Certainly that us boomers and Gen Xers experience as we leverage our experience and the opportunities that are before us. Now, speaking of that, the interview that Vivica has planned for us today is, I think, so on point for Gray Matters because it's going to be talking about the perspective of especially women have of turning gray. We see more and more women out there eschewing dyeing their hair as they reach their 50s, and instead embracing the natural beauty that is their silvering or their gray hair. And I find that fascinating and encouraging. I obviously, with our podcast being called Gray Matters, and certainly with the color of my hair, I encourage as many of us as possible just to embrace this season of life, and that's what this conversation is all about. So, without any further ado, let's have a listen to Vivica and Alexis.
Hello, my friends. So I have a fellow Canadian, a female Canadian, another Canadian. I have my friend Alexis, who is also Canadian, on the show. And we met about 8 months ago at a conference for women called Tangled Silver. Actually, that wasn't it. It was the woman Robin, who is the Tangled Silver magazine, had the conference. But I just love that name, Tangled Silver. And then I met you, and you have Silvering Beauty. And I was like, okay, you are now one of the coolest people I know. And you have created, first of all, I didn't even know there was a need for these things other than my mom was always looking for like a gray, brow liner, and they have purple shampoo, but then the purple shampoo makes your hair purple. And then I met you, and you've created this, first of all, absolutely beautiful line of products.
Thank you,
it's
Vivica.
so high-end looking, and I was like, I can't afford these. And then they're affordable. So you've got this beautiful, high-end, high-quality product, and it's beautiful, and you're a woman, and you embrace your silver, and you're super cool, and you're stunning and gorgeous. So, how do you do all that?
Oh my God. Okay. Thanks for the intro, Vivica. I don't know how I live up to that.
No pressure.
Blah. I don't think it's living up to anything, because I think there's a lot of people see things and they see a lot more than what's going on. It's like that. It's that old saying. It's the swans are so beautiful above the water, and then under the water, they're madly kicking. It's like
Exactly.
That's basically the life of an entrepreneur, especially when you're in beauty, because you have to you really do always have to show up and look a certain way. I had a girlfriend once while I was putting the brand together, and it was like COVID, and everybody looked janky, and we were sitting, socially distanced on the back deck, and I was talking to her about the brand, and I'm like, it's going to be amazing. And she looked at me and she said, you might want to look like somebody who owns a beauty brand. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I looked down at myself, I'm like, oh yeah. When I go out,
I got my Birkenstocks and my sweats and
Oh my God. Yeah. My hair was a disaster. It was, yeah. So, yeah. So there is that have to look a certain way. Well,
Yeah.
that's fine. I can do it. You
Well,
know.
and you come from the beauty industry. I mean, you
Right.
were a model and then you moved from that into the beauty industry and production, right? And then you started your own business.
Yeah, I was 20. I
Yeah.
was like 10 years a model, international, got to travel the world. It was fabulous. Like there's nothing okay, I regret a couple of things, but I had a really good time. And then
We won't mention his name.
I
No.
know. I was almost arrested. Whatever. And then I came back to Canada and then went to school for industrial design. Design got me
Yeah.
like into designing like the three-dimensional marketing things
Yeah.
for the retail industry. And I just found myself back in beauty because I was designing like the Sephora stores and all the brands and working
Yeah.
with like the Chanels and the L'Oreals and so I was back in it, but just in a different role. But I'm going to tag on to that because
Yeah.
this kind of wraps it all up. Because in that role, I was able to see, like, launched so many products,
Yeah.
so many brands, and saw brands come and saw brands go. I saw trends come and saw trends go. And like the whole change of the beauty industry, like from,
Yeah.
magazine centric to consumer centric, like who's calling the shots. It was like just bananas, the changes. But in that position, every product crossed my desk and I was able to see, like you were saying that your mom was like,
Yeah.
I can't find. Dude, trying to find an eyebrow shade that is
Yeah.
not dead gray or like a hot taupe,
Yeah.
like for silvers is like, why is this a problem? So I
Yeah.
like compromised. I was like, Mom, what do you use? And she pulled out like a number 4 pencil that she got from the art shop. And I'm like, no, no, this is not it.
We should not be putting lead on our
No,
brows.
it's not lead anymore. It's graphite. But yes, no, you should not be using like
Markers on your, yeah.
yeah, it's like it's supposed to be fit for purpose, and that's what was missing.
Yeah.
In so many aspects, so many things were missing that were fit for purpose for women with
Yeah.
silvering hair. And
Yeah.
the beauty industry just didn't see us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it blows me away. It actually blows me away that we are in 2025 and yours is the only brand I've ever seen that is specifically for, for the hair, for the brows, for the face, for the like I mean, there are
Yeah.
other brands, of course, that serve older silver women, but they haven't nailed it. They don't have it down like you do. So
Thank you.
applause to you.
Thank you. Thank
Also, you were
you.
telling a story which I freaking loved. And I think this wasn't when you were on stage. We were just chatting after. But I love this because the visual is so strong. Like you embraced your gray early and you were talking about because you can't tell, but Alexis is what you're 5'10,
Oh,
5'11.
you're not a Smurfette either. Yeah,
No,
5'11". Yeah,
no,
I
but
mean,
you're
we remember
tall.
because I got some shoes from you, and I was.
That's true.
You're like, "Are you a 9.5?" I'm like, "Why, I am." She's like, "Here, I've got some shoes for you." Yeah,
I
5'10
do
and a half,
that
5'11".
sometimes.
Yeah,
5'11, yeah.
yeah,
So I'm like this great visual of Alexis 5'11 with her like gorgeous silver hair, like commanding the floor. And you did,
thanks.
you were very empowered by your hair color, even at a
Mhm.
young age. But a lot of us, I mean, I literally stopped coloring my hair when I knew I was going to be speaking at that conference. So it's been a year exactly that I stopped coloring my hair. Yes.
How's it
But
going?
I'm good. I mean, I'm very
Yeah,
lucky. I'm very salt and pepper. I'm not salt and pepper. I'm very sugar and spice.
sugar
And
and
so
spice, sweetheart. Yeah,
it's fine. Like our friend Cammie, you were just on her podcast.
yeah.
She's going, yeah, that was a much harder transition, although she just got the cutest haircut. So that's
She did.
awesome.
I saw that too.
It was really cute,
I
right?
saw that. It's super cute.
So back to you, like you were
Yeah.
empowered by your silver at a young age.
Yeah, I think that was because my mom, she embraced her silvers early. So she was like
Yeah.
like just she was a great role model. You know, she had like the 80s shoulder pads and, you know,
Yeah.
big 80s hair, but the big 80s hair was like
Yeah.
silver. And it was like,
Yeah.
wow. And I was like, and it just didn't seem like unusual to me. So
Yeah.
when I started to go, I was like, let's
Yeah.
keep it and let's see how it
Let's
goes.
embrace it.
And it wasn't even like, oh, I should hide it. I never had that. I never had that seed of doubt in my head. And I think, and I'm really lucky because I think a lot of women, and I've heard women say it, you know,
Yeah.
they're like, I'll be a blonde until I'm in the grave. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, that's okay. That's
Okay.
good too. Yeah.
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 That's a
But
lot of
it's
work. I got to tell you, like, I don't color my hair anymore at all, so that saves me a ton of money.
right.
So I can totally afford your products, even though they are super affordable anyway. And
Sweet.
then I like learned this haircut off of TikTok, so I also haven't seen a single hairdresser.
That's so funny.
That needs to change,
Don't cut your
but
hair on like based on a TikTok video. If COVID taught us nothing, do not do your own hair.
it's so true. Well, and I
Good.
have an excuse. I am in Costa Rica, so my hair will be in
Mm,
this ponytail for the next 90 days, but
delightful.
and it will never come out. But
Oh, and it looks so beautiful. Like you've just got such a beautiful face. Like to have your hair off your
oh,
face
thank you.
is gorgeous. And I think
Oh,
that's something I think about
yeah.
because I used to have short hair for a really long time
Mhm,
and a
mhm.
lot of women would say like, "Oh, I can't wear my hair short." And I'd be like, "Yeah, you can. If you're wearing your hair
Yeah.
back in a ponytail, that's what you look like with short hair."
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Now you
yeah, it
know.
looks amazing. Like you could see your whole face and whatever.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, you know, how I don't know, it feels like important hair is to people. You know, like
It is.
it's a definer. You know, my girlfriend,
Yeah.
Megan, she's my best friend. I've known her since first grade.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
right. And she is her blonde hair is sandy blonde. She's getting like her
Yeah.
mom. She just doesn't have a whole lot of silvers. And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
cool. And
Yeah.
but she said, well, you know, I really like being blonde
Yeah.
because that's something that is an identifier for me. It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Who she's been her
Megan,
whole life. Yeah.
Megan, she's blonde, she's funny, you know, but it's just like blonde is in there. And she's like,
Yeah.
it feels like it's pretty like enmeshed in who I
Yeah.
am, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and I really think about that when you think about redheads. Like redheads don't
Mm,
often go a different color and until they go gray or they don't. But,
yeah, yeah.
redheads usually stay redheads. They don't usually go black or brown or whatever, because it's such a unique and fabulous colors. But it does become part of our personal identity for sure.
I was having dinner with a girlfriend last night and we were talking about personal identity and kind of
Yeah.
as time moves on and how our identities change
Yeah.
all kinds of aspects. So for a while you're a student, you're a daughter,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then you're an aunt, you're employed, so you kind of title
Mhm.
yourself by your job
Yeah.
description.
Your job
And
description.
then
Yeah.
you're a mother, you're a
Yeah.
partner, you're a spouse.
Yeah.
And for her, she's changing jobs right now, and she's like, "I
Yeah.
think I'm mourning my old
Yes.
position." And I was like, "Oh."
Yes.
And for me, I'm like, I don't see that, those transitions. I see them more as
Yeah.
graduations,
Right.
like graduating
Right.
from that phase into the other
Yeah.
one. So we had like an interesting kind of chat about that of like, oh, lots of chapters, right? We have lots of chapters, and
Yes.
it's just
Lots
like
of
at some
chapters.
point, as you turn the page, you have to let some things go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back to silver
Embracing my
hair. No.
age. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, back to
No,
my friend.
embracing
No.
my age is hard because I always felt young. I just never felt my age, and I didn't think I looked my age, although apparently I did, but I never felt I looked my age. And so when I finally just sat down and went, "You're 57." I still have a hard time with that. "You're 57. You are not 30. You are not 40. You're 57." Now, that doesn't mean I can't do a bunch of stuff, and that doesn't keep me from doing a bunch of stuff other than maybe not the mini skirts anymore. That's for
Why not?
everybody's benefit. But, it's like I just and there's wonderful things with coming to becoming 57, but it is a transition, of course, in the US especially, and I don't remember
Mm.
much in Canada other than the Native Canadian and Native American communities. we don't celebrate these transitions from mother to crone, from it's like we don't celebrate
Mhm.
these transitions, and so we wake up one day going, "Oh crap." Sometimes,
Yeah. And I
you
think we're
know?
also in a Western society that
It just
that really, patriarchy being what it is, has kind of
Mhm.
established this value center around
Youth.
procreation, which is good,
Mhm.
but procreation, and that kind of like goes on till
Yeah.
35, 36, and it's like
Mhm.
after that, you're like, "Oh, well now we're not sure what to do with you." You know?
Right. Yeah.
And the beauty and like it's a really, really strange, like when you look at it that way, you're like, "Is that
Yeah.
really what my value is?"
Well, especially for those of us who have never been mothers.
Mm,
And you're like saying 37, I'm like, Jesus, that's so young. But
right.
there is something to that. And I think there's some fear
Yeah,
around
yeah.
because older women are super powerful. And
So
so I
powerful.
think, right? And so you've got big media keeping older women down because they fear our power.
Mhm.
And but I love that like Shonda Rhimes and other media people out there are bringing up older women again now.
I think it's almost, I mean, just given the size of the population that's aging right now, it's like it would
Yeah,
be foolish
it's
not to, right?
inevitable.
Like there's so
Yeah,
many people now and empowered women who have grown up
yeah,
and have been CEOs and have been
yeah,
in positions of power who are now, aging into retirement and they're like, well, this isn't me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they're demanding change, right? And I think
yeah,
it's not until you have, and I swear this is true, like older women creating media, not just
yes.
in media, but creating media, because
Creating
our
media. Yeah.
point of view and like what we show each other is different.
Yes.
Because when you have like a 25-year-old, I love 25-year-olds. They're fun. They're great.
Mhm.
I
They're fun.
hang out with
Yeah.
lots of
Lots
kids.
of energy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. But, they cannot see what our age is like, because
No.
you just know your age and anything that you've
Yeah.
been. So their
And everything below
experiences,
it, but you have
mhm,
no experience of yeah.
looking up.
Yeah.
And so for them to be like, "Oh, well, they're in the marketing world," and they're like, "Oh, well, I think this
Yeah.
is what women want to see, or I think this is how they should be
Yeah.
feeling about themselves." And you're just like, "No, no, no,
Nope.
no."
Nope. Nope.
Yeah. No, please.
It's
You
not
know?
all about being a size 4 and having perky boobies and,
Yeah, and, like, what we aspire to. It's like, dude, we're not
yeah.
aspiring to be you.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
Like, we've
We've
been
been
there, done
there.
that,
We've done that. We
got a
don't need to do it
T-shirt.
again.
Yeah, like, so I think it's really interesting, and the that's why I feel like it's so important to have that kind of representation in
Yeah.
the fields that guide how people see each other,
Yeah.
you know? And
Absolutely.
that's
Our friend, well, not really my friend, but your friend, and now I'm totally spacing her name, but the Your Roots Are Showing
Yeah,
movie,
Elise
like
Harris, director.
Elise Harris,
Yes.
I gotta have her on the podcast too. Like that
She's so
is
great.
such a great example of embracing our beauty at any age.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
literally made me cry, which I'm sitting there crying, going, "Why am I crying? I don't understand why I'm crying."
I think it's interesting because again, in movies, Vivica, we grew
Yeah.
up at a time when directors have taught
Mhm.
us how to look at other women. Pan from the
Yes.
ankles up the back of
Right?
the back of that's how you look at women. Like that's
Yes.
how I look at women
That's
because
right.
that's how I was trained to.
That's how the camera
That's
literally the
it.
camera does that. Yeah.
Literally. And that's like that's how
Wow.
you look at a woman. And so
Wow. That's powerful.
until you have more directors who are writing
Yeah.
stories about real women who have stories
Mhm.
and start filming in a way that's like, no, this is how we see the world. I mean, we know
Yeah.
how men see the world. No, if I mean,
Yeah.
we see how
It's
men see the
everywhere.
world.
It's easy to see.
And so it's really refreshing when you see movies
Yeah.
that have been made by women. And I think Elise's documentary is a
Yeah.
great example of that because her curiosity matches our curiosity right?
Yes.
It's like she
Yes.
wants to tell the story and asks the questions that we're interested in hearing about, And it's just
Mhm.
it's not a better than or a less than. It's just different. It's different.
I want to say better than, but that's
How do
just
you
me.
really feel about that, Vivica?
Well, let's talk a little bit more about your journey because
Sure.
COVID hit you like it hit
Mhm.
all of us. And it was through COVID when you came up with Silvering Beauty, right?
Yes, it was during COVID that I, like everybody else, was online,
Yeah.
and I would
Yeah.
join all kinds of groups and Facebook groups being one of
Yeah.
them. And I saw as women stopped going to the salons and were like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to stop dyeing. I mean, some people had no
Mhm.
choice, but they're like, mm.
Yeah.
And then as COVID went on and on and on, people were like, well, I think I'm going to keep this grow out
Yeah.
and keep it going because they realized like my hair is healthier, the color is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Some people were just like, I love not having to go every 2 weeks, whatever. But online on those forums, just questions.
Mhm.
What do I do with
Yeah.
this? How do I do that? Blah blah blah. And I would like tap tap tap. I'm like, oh, here's some here, maybe you could do that. Blah, blah. And I had been like again in the industry. I know founders.
Mhm.
And I was like, somebody should really do something about this. Somebody should. I was like, oh, somebody should come up with a line of products that
Yeah.
are just made to solve these problems because
Yeah.
nobody's doing it.
Right.
And I approached some founder friends and
Yeah.
they said first get an NDA.
Yes.
And I was like,
Exactly.
oh, right, okay. And then they said, yeah, it's not our brand, but like somebody should do it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like how would one go about doing that? And then I just dove in. Like I am a research junkie,
I love
and
it.
like
Yeah.
as a designer, industrial designer particularly, like I
Yeah.
leverage the skills of other people to kind of create holistic solutions. And I got in touch with the labs and I was like, we have to make something different. So this isn't like my brand is not a white label brand. I don't know if you know
No.
what white
No.
labeling is.
It's yeah.
Yeah, like white labeling, for those who don't know, it's an industry term where there are kind of like, here's a shampoo, here's a conditioner, and you can add some aloe and kind of make it your own and slap your marketing on and
Yeah.
boop,
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle. So a lot of like
Yeah.
the influencers out there who are like, oh, they have like suddenly they have a
I've
product.
got my own brand. Like, no, you
Oh,
don't.
yeah, not in 8
Not really,
months.
no.
It's like 2 years, man. Um,
Yeah.
so I went out and I formulated, like we did the studies, we did the research, we
Yeah.
looked at hair and we're like, why isn't anything working? Like, what are the ingredients? And
Yeah.
just discovered so much, found ingredients that like amplify the beauty of silvering hair, which is really
Yeah.
that's what we do. There's nothing wrong with silvering hair, and I'm not saying that's like your hair looks bad.
No.
No, no. Your hair looks great, and I know, and all the silvering sisters know that it feels great. And when your hair looks great and you can like lean into that thing that is making you feel amazing, man, it's just like win on top of win.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Did I answer your
Without,
question?
cancer. Yes, yes.
Dear God.
Without cancer causing chemicals, it's just like, and what I love
Yeah.
is you didn't go in and go, oh, I have to do foundation, I have to do shampoo and conditioner, I have to do, because there are companies that do good foundations for aging women. There's lots of shampoo and conditioner out there. No, you have the additive, it's not an additive. What do you call it?
It's a concentrated toning mix. So, and I know where you're
Yeah.
going with that because we love, once you find a shampoo or
Yes.
conditioner that you love, that works, you
Yeah.
love the smell, it works on your hair texture, it works in your
Yeah.
climate. Hello, Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Like, can't
Right.
use the same thing as you
Exactly.
use in New York. Yeah. You hold on to it. So here was this
Mhm.
expectation, this traditional expectation that silvering women had, that it's like, well, you have to just drop all of that every few washes
All this.
to use another shampoo and conditioner that doesn't smell the way you want it to, doesn't
Right.
work for your hair texture, just to
Mm-mm.
tone. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
come on, really? So that was the solution. It was like add toning drops. So you just add the toning drops to a dose of your
Yeah.
favorite shampoo once every few washes. You don't have to go out and buy a whole new set of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
just to tone. Like, just if you want to
I
tone
love
your
that.
hair, if it's a little bit yellow, if it's a little bit brassy, if you want to brighten it up, you can dial it up or dial it down.
I love
It's
that.
like it's a game changer. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
smart, you know?
Simple, easy, smart. Like you don't have
Yeah.
to reinvent the wheel. And that's what I love about your products. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
Thanks, lady.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was just and I love that you're Canadian and you didn't have to
Mhm.
and here's what I will say, and now, because our audience is Gen X and boomers, and they're digital, that most of them have digital businesses, and a lot of them are American and a lot of them are Canadian. And
Yeah.
as Americans, we are just very naturally, I feel, entrepreneurial. Like we don't
Mhm.
have, well, we didn't used to have the things in place that would keep us from being successful. Whereas, I mean, I love Canada. I am Canadian, and the taxes and there's a way of thinking that is different than there is in the United States. So I love that you crafted and created and birthed this business in Canada as a Canadian, and of course you ship all over the world, and all of us can enjoy it. But I love that you are such an entrepreneur and such a Canadian
Thanks,
entrepreneur at
lady.
that.
Yeah, I'm a really proud Canadian. Like, I'm a proud human.
Yeah,
I'm proud, like, human
yeah,
first. Like, let's go.
yeah,
But and you know what you say about this idea of entrepreneurship, being kind of an American, we'll just say
right,
American
yeah, yeah,
Canadian kind of
yeah,
um trait, characteristic. You
yeah,
and
yeah,
who
like the
said
great
this?
American dream,
I had heard this from
right?
somebody else who said, I think part of that it's in our blood. If we're not indigenous, then the
Yep,
reality
yeah,
is we come from stock who decided to
mm,
up and leave and try something else. Like that is in
true,
the blood. They came
yeah,
across the water at some point and decided to
yeah,
start again, either in Canada or the
true,
States, right? So I think
or the same,
I think that's like ingrained somewhere in us anyway. But the
yeah,
Canadian thing, like I have lived all over the world, right? So that was
yep,
youth. I was
yeah,
lucky enough to
that's true.
travel and
Yeah.
saw some really amazing places and some really scary places and some really kind
Mhm.
of sad places and decided to come back to Canada. And I decided to come back because I respect the education system
Mhm.
that we have. I respect the
Mhm.
healthcare system that we have.
Mhm.
Our politics are kind of like muddy and slow and conservative and, but we get things done and
Yeah.
there's a feeling of
Yeah.
safety and security in our country.
Yes, for
And
sure.
my tax dollars, like a
Mm.
business's tax dollars, goes to pay for that stuff.
Yeah.
So as easy as it is, and as easy as people were telling me, oh,
Yeah.
you should really incorporate in the States. Where's the New
Yeah.
Hampshire, I think? I don't know. There's
New
a state
Hampshire. Yes,
yeah, they're
exactly.
like, where there are no taxes. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I don't mind giving
someone's
back
gotta,
because I've
yeah.
been supported by.
And I want,
Yeah.
I want my kids to go to a good school and I want the roads
Yep.
to keep being fixed.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's such a Swiss cheesy set of loopholes for business owners
Yes.
to
Yes.
to escape that,
Yes.
and to dodge
Yeah.
it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's
Do we yeah.
we
Like
can do better. Like, why don't we just do the right thing? Do the right thing, not
I
for money, but because it's the right thing to do.
do. I
It's crazy.
100%, it's funny, and maybe it is because I'm Canadian. I've never tried to not pay taxes, dodge taxes, like because I appreciated my healthcare. I appreciated my
Right.
almost free education. Like,
Yeah,
so I didn't mind paying taxes on it. It's weird
it
that
is
but
weird. And the
maybe that's
thing
the
is,
outside coming in.
when people don't pay taxes,
Mhm.
then all of those systems start getting really bad. And when
Yeah.
they get
Yeah.
bad, then you've got businesses who are suddenly ready to
Yeah.
swoop in and say, oh, like, oh, we'll save you because that government, oh, they're doing such a terrible job because
Right.
you're not paying taxes. It's like,
It's
come on, can somebody
like
see the full circle? Ah, it's bananas.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Exactly. Oh
yeah,
my
so
gosh.
I'm proudly Canadian. pay the taxes
Proudly
there.
Canadian there. I love it. I love it.
But
All right.
also, yeah, go.
What it
I'm just go on.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
What advice would you give to someone who, wants to start like a real business? I mean, like you said, you did research. There was significant money going into the research and the testing, and then you created a product. So it's not like starting a coaching business with which anyone can do on any given Tuesday. Like, you created a business with a product in a very, very crowded, but not really, but still very, very crowded industry. So what kind of advice would you give someone who is moving into that type of entrepreneurship?
Um, business plans are there for a reason.
Mhm.
That whole
Yeah.
structure of if even if you don't follow it to a T, at least writing
Yeah.
it out to make sure that you've captured all of those pieces is important.
Yes.
The other piece I really believe is finding a niche, like finding something that relates to you,
Yeah.
something that you understand deeply, and then finding a oh something it's something that you understand deeply, but then something that you're passionate about, like something that you
Passionate
really
about.
believe in. And I've said this before, but like there are hard days, and those hard
Mhm.
days are, at least you can then back up and say, look, I know I'm doing this for a good reason. And for me,
Yeah.
I'm trying to help push that rock up the hill with
Yes.
all kinds of other
Yes.
women pushing it uphill to kind of
Yep.
make it easier for the next generation of women and girls who are coming up.
Mm.
That's essentially what I'm doing through a beauty
Yeah.
brand, but like in my way, I'm like, no, I really believe that this little change can happen and that's going to make a difference. So having that spark of like belief in what you're doing.
Mhm.
And it's funny, I've spoken to a few women about this who, as they close chapters,
Mhm.
and I feel like there's like, and Vivica, you totally get this. The corporate world is a chapter, like
Yeah.
it is a
It
chapter,
is.
and you close it and you walk away, or walk sideways or whatever. But
Oh, yeah, yeah. Crab walk a
yeah,
little bit.
exactly. You kind of blend into the bush. Um, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, chapters. So as you kind of come into these new chapters
Mhm.
and I've spoken to a lot of women about this, into these later parts of your life where you're like, okay, now I've got heaps of wisdom. I've got lots of information. You know that you don't know everything. You're at
Right.
that point where you're like,
Yeah.
all of that bravado of your 20s and 30s of like, oh, I know everything. I can do it all. Blah, blah. Why aren't they paying me?
Yeah.
That you're you're primed for doing something else. Okay. Now, what you choose to do next, most of the women I talk to are looking for
Yeah.
things that are meaningful. Have you
Exactly.
glommed onto that? Like, have you found that? Like women that you're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
to?
Well, and that is I mean, this is literally my business,
Right.
is helping women transition out of corporate
Yes.
into their legacy business, but that they really felt they were put on this earth to do.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
you don't know what that is until you live a lot. Do
That's
you
right.
do you know enough about yourself to say like, yeah, I think
Right.
I've got like a good wheelhouse of skills here. How can I apply those to do that next thing? And
Yeah.
again, I was talking to my girlfriend, she was talking about like going into healthcare and taking her skills, like
Mhm.
her corporate skills, and like
Mhm.
applying them to like not-for-profits and
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like making things better. I'm like, what? It's
Yeah.
just I don't want to say common because it's not common.
No.
But I find it remarkable. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because of the people who I surround myself with,
I think so.
that in that group there's just this like, let's use these superpowers for good. You know?
No, 100%. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of like, finding your perfect soulmate at 15 years old and being married to them the whole time. Like, there are very few people who at 7 know that they want to do this one thing for the rest of their lives and they're happy doing it. There are a few people, but most no,
Yeah.
mainly because I think culture comes in and says, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And so it takes a while to rid ourselves of that cultural expectation.
Mm.
And I think part of it, when we get to be in our 50s and older, we just give less shits. And so
That's it.
it is a
Right?
little bit easier for us to follow our dreams and craft the world and the businesses
Yeah.
that we want to. But
And that's it, isn't it? It's like following expectations. And it's just like,
Yeah.
what are the expectations? And
Yeah.
it's different, like I think when you're younger, because the expectations can be kind of presented to a group who is kind of at the same point, like
Yes.
grade school,
Yep.
kindergarten, grade 1, high school.
It's the graduation
still-
again, right? Yep.
But you're still kind of a group,
Yep.
a little bit the same.
Same level. Yep.
But then
Yeah.
you have people who go off to university, people who go off to
Yeah.
work, some people who travel, some people who do this. And you have like this group that's now like, psh.
Yeah.
And then you have, people, in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. And they're not, and I think marketers hate this. They're
Yeah.
not like a group that all thinks the same. You're like, no. They're
No.
here and here and here and here and
Yeah.
here. They're so diverse that it's kind of magical. But it's,
Yes.
but it, we're not really easy to market to because we're all
No.
so different, right?
We're-
Like
yeah.
so different.
We have an ability to surround ourselves with the communities that support us. In this case, this the Silvering Sisterhood community. I love what you said earlier, like having a plan, having passion around that plan, and then having the community that we just talked about. Like those three things, I think really help with the entrepreneurial journey and creating the businesses that
Absolutely.
are absolutely needed in this world. So speaking of, we've got Silvering Beauty, which is an absolutely necessary business, I think, for many of us who are wanting
think so
to
too.
move into silvering in an easy and effortless way. Where can people find you?
We are at www.silveringbeauty.com. And we're selling online only, direct to consumer. And we are going to be into select salons this year, which is really exciting.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much, Alexis Eizinas, for being on today's call. You are a beautiful person inside and out, and I think definitely you will have inspired some people to not only embrace their businesses, but embrace their gray.
Do it. Or don't. It's okay. But if you do it, we're here for you. That's it.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you so much for being on today's call.
Thanks, Vivica. This was fun.